Let's now move over to North America, where the US economy has unexpectedly shrunk in the first quarter of this year, as the nation's GDP contracted by 0.3%. This marks the first quarterly decline since 2022, a surge in imports driven by stockpiling ahead of Donald Trump's new tariffs is being blamed for the downturn. The US Commerce Department also pointed to a drop in consumer and government spending, while some economists say private investment could help the economy rebound soon. President Trump is shifting the blame to his predecessor. Speaking at a cabinet meeting, Trump called the contraction Biden's economy, adding that the GDP decline reflected distortions from imports and government spending. Let's take a listen in to what the US president said.
Core GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is the quarterly numbers. And we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country in so many ways. Not only at the border was more up.
Trump's approval rating has recently taken a hit, with recent polls showing a decline in his economic approval to just 36%. Despite this, he remains optimistic, telling business leaders that growth is just around the corner. Trump is now asking for a little bit of time as he works to address these economic challenges. Let's take a listen in.
In the first quarter GDP numbers just out today, core GDP, now we're removing distortions from imports, inventories, and government spending, was up plus 3%. But this is Biden's economy because we took over on January 20th. And I think you have to get us a little bit of time to get moving. But this is the Biden economy. But we still had and we've had a lot of things happen since November 5th that helped this economy.
The US president also announced on Wednesday that a tariff wall will be imposed on pharmaceutical companies operating in the US after a set period. The move aims to boost domestic production and reduce reliance on foreign drug manufacturers. Meanwhile, Trump also acknowledged that his tariffs could lead to higher prices and fewer products for American consumers, suggesting children might have 2 dolls instead of 30. Trump insisted China would suffer more from the trade war and tried to reassure the public that a recession isn't looming. Here's what Trump said.
Look, right now, and I told you before, they're having tremendous difficulty because their factories are not doing business. They made $1 trillion with Biden, $1 trillion, even $1.1 trillion with Biden selling us stuff. Much of it we don't need. Somebody said, oh, the shelves are going to be open. Well, maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls, And maybe the 2 dolls will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. But we're not talking about something that we have to go out of our way. They have ships that are loaded up with stuff, much of which, not all of it, but much of which we don't need. And we have to make a fair deal. We've been ripped off by every country in the world, but China, I would say, is the leading one, the leading candidate for the chief ripper offer.
Meanwhile, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum praised US President Donald Trump's decision to soften tariffs on automakers, calling it a positive step in avoiding a trade war. She highlighted that the new rules would provide Mexico with a competitive advantage under the US-Mexico-Canada agreement, as vehicle tariffs would be reduced if parts were produced in Mexico or Canada. Sheinbaum emphasized that the changes recognize the value of the trade agreement, particularly as Mexico has become the US's largest trading partner. Listen in to what the Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has said.
Porque nuevamente hay un reconocimiento pues del valor del Tratado Comercial México, Estados Unidos, Canadá.